All right. No. Is that better?
Yes.
In contrast? That's better? Are you going to fall asleep?
Yes.
Well, what's that about? Let's keep it like this then. What we need to do to start the session today is go to Blackboard and log in and download our session data today. And on Blackboard is called Digitizing of Data for Digitizing F 2017. And in doing so, is it mine or people? This is someone's.
What did you say the data was called?
Should be F at the bottom. Data for F digitizing. It's like naming convention at 1 a.m. in the morning. All right. Shark learn.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Didn't we save documents on downloads on the computer?
Give me a moment. We're going to change that a little bit.
I want to see.
Yeah, I need to change my password. The new one I can't barely type. Cross content, and then here the bottom data for digitizing. And in my case here, it pops up as a folder ready for download, and I say okay, open. And we have the installation here of that zip program, so it gives us this option. I say extract. And I want to extract it to my chunk drive. If you have one plugged in, then select your chunk drive. If you don't have a USB memory stick, please see that you actually can put that into your downloads or into your documents. Do not put it down on the C drive because there might be some read-write issues with the system. Yeah? And we click OK to extract. Do you get that? Okay, let me help you. So, next step, if we have done that, we're going to open up our catalog and take a look at our data in our catalog. Hi, so that's your browser. You download it yet? So, this is brand new data. So, brand new data. Go please to sharklearn.nova.edu. And your caps lock is on.
Nova?
Yep, nova.edu. Log in with your username there. And go to Geographic systems. And then go to class content. Yep. And download the data at the bottom. At the bottom, scroll down. And save this on your chunk drive. So click the link and open. Open. And then say extract to your chunk drive. extract to your jump drive. You gotta select your jump drive. Okay, then
got it.
Vanilla. What we did is we downloaded data for today's session.
Okay.
The digitizing data on the bottom of your blackboard. Download that. And I encourage you guys to put that on your jump drive or your personal profile on the computer, knowing that you can't trust these computers. Yeah? So someone could steal them or data could be erased unless it's somewhat in your profile, but use a jump drive. Yeah? All right. So once we have this jump drive started, I open up our catalog. ArcGIS, catalog. Because I want to examine the data. Rule of thumb. If you haven't created your that data just by yourself, examine it before you start working. Why? A, you want to know what's the data structure, tables, field names in it. B, once you figured out the structure, you want to know if it's populated. I can give you a data set and say, oh, this is a census blocks for Broward County. And you're like, yeah, I got the census blocks for Broward County from Dr. Würzer. Well, did you get the data for it as well? Like all the population of each block. I can erase that data and just give you the shell, the boundaries. Yeah? So we want to take a look at that. So data structure, data populated, and then in concert with the lecture I gave online, we also want to know a little bit about the geographic projection on the coordinate system. Yeah? Is this data in lat long, aka decimal degrees or somewhat, or is it maybe measured in meters, or is it measured locally in feet? Yeah? Because remember from the presentation, distortion or projections make geographers sad: shape, area, distance, and direction. Yeah? So these are 4 potential areas my data can be squeezed and pushed into the wrong way. I keep saying football stadium and baseball stadium. Just look at the green in the football stadium and the baseball stadium. I could move that football stadium into the baseball stadium. It's still the same green and the team can play on it, but it's completely shaped off because the transformation has changed. All right, so troublemaker number 1 is to connect to that folder. So I'm doing so. First of all, I want to see my table of content. For that I click here. I want to connect to a different folder. How am I going to do my folder connections?
There's a little folder plus sign up there, right?
Little folder plus sign up there, or there's actually also the idea of right click. So both will work. For that case, I'm going to select my USB drive and my folder for those who came in late, the folder I downloaded from Blackboard, F2017 Digitizing. Yeah. So ideally, I have downloads, maybe not, but for sure I have my E drive right now, and it could be your D drive, it could be an F drive on your machine. Yeah. So what do I have in this folder provided on Blackboard? I have a file called imagery WGS84. And I click on this, it says it's a map document. If I do my review, it pops up after a moment of loading, and it should show me some beautiful-ish island in the middle of nowhere, because this is how it saved it last time. This is actually the Bahamas. Yeah. This is my base map. And the reason why I saved this document is to make our life easier, because I don't want to go back up online, download something, have an issue to find it. This is why I have 1 or 2 of those maps saved, and I just open it up and to play with it. Or I copy and paste over the data I need. So what else do I have here? In the main folder, I only have that map document and a subfolder that's called McDonald's. Well, let's take a look at McDonald's. If I look at this, I have point as a shapefile, and I have a table. Let's take a look at the table first. Everyone with me?
No.
Okay, everyone has downloaded the data.
I didn't, well, in my jump drive, but then I don't see how you got that.
Did you connect to your jump drive with our catalog?
Do I have to go to our catalog afterwards?
Yes. And then open up, add folder connection, and then connect to your jump drive so you can see the folder. All right. So see in this table here is a bunch of fields. Yeah? Code name, address, city, state name, zip code, something we learned from real estate market analysis, NAICS code, North American Industrial Code System. Yeah? The SIC is the predecessor of it. Then we have employment numbers, EMP for employment numbers, sales volume, which I never remember if it's in thousands of dollars or what, and the description doesn't pop up for it. No? But it's irrelevant right now because we're dealing with the data structure. Then we have this description, and we have latitude and longitude. So that's in a table. That means we actually have the location of that business right now expressed with X, Y, or lat long coordinates. And we can do something about that later. No? Can display that. The data you see here is actually pulled that from the business analyst online and exported that for the classroom session. If you're carefully looking, there's also something missing in the address field. If I would use geocoding as a tool to use an address and run that through a geolocator or address engine and to put the address on our map using real-world reference, why would I have a problem with these addresses? Yes, please.
Numbers?
There are no street numbers. They're all Hollywood Boulevard. Hollywood Boulevard. I'm pretty sure that there are 2 different Hollywood Boulevard locations of McDonald's in Hollywood. Yeah? And that is a pain data license agreement contracts impose on you. That's a relatively new thing because they, as they're buying all this data, and as one of the examples here is in the past, 2014-ish, they still showed the numbers, the street numbers, the full street address. So in theory, I could extract all my McDonald's in the region and would have that, could use that as a mailing address for advertisement. Yeah? And because people don't like that, and in some states it's illegal, they actually took that out. They changed the data provider, and with the new data agreement, the number, the house number is taken away from that table. So I can work online with it in the web. The moment I want to grab the table and work it on locally with it, it truncates my addresses. So that's the reason why I can't use it for geocoding in this case. Yes, please.
It's asking me if I want hardware acceleration. Do I say yes or no?
It doesn't matter. No.
So how's it know where to put points if it has no numbers? Or does it just sort of...
What's the definition of a point? What do I need for a point in GIS?
Latitude, longitude?
I need coordinates. X. Good day. Did not miss it. X and Y, or that long. Actually long that. But everyone says that long. Yeah? If I have an XY, I can draw my point. If I have a pair of XYs, yeah, like an X1, Y1, and X2, Y2, I can have 2 points, or I can say this is actually my start, and this is my end. and could actually create a line. So in theory, there's actually a tool for that. But you can actually, it's called XY table to line or something like this, where you actually load your XY coordinates and you create actually lines because you have paired coordinates. So the moment I have a table with an XY in a known coordinate system, in this case that long would be for the World Geographic System measured in decimal degrees, I can pinpoint that location down. That's the reason why you always have to ask if you're doing work with GIS, is your data spatially enabled? Is your data, what kind of references, real world references do you have for your data? Yes?
If we're working with a spreadsheet that we developed and we import it into the system here, does it make a difference whether it's lat long, long lat?
No,
No?
because you have to match that up. We will do that.
Okay.
That's part of the to-do list for today. We're going through this. This is the extra bonus round. So the XY event is some really cool thing. Yes, please.
This table is found under description.
No, it's in the preview tab, and I'm looking right now at the table called McDonald's XY.dbf.
That's where I'm at, but I don't have that table.
It's right in front of you.
Oh, so we don't go here.
Mm-hmm. All right. So we know that there's a bunch of businesses in there. We know some of the address. Like we can actually go and could sort this by zip code and or by the city's name. So we have something to play with later for the tool I want to call select by attribute. Yeah? So today is dealing with all the ways we can select and manipulate data. All right. Let's take a look at this McDonald's SHP. If I'm in the preview tab and looking at geography, I'm going to see a bunch of dots. Well, I know already from looking at my data table, it's the same, just a different name, that these are locations of McDonald's in the larger Fort Lauderdale area. Yeah? I only randomly selected a few. If I go back to the table preview, I pump this down to the bottom, I can see that there are 68 items or features in that setup. Yeah? I also see something that there's a name called McDonald Construction, McDonald Hardware, and then other names. Yeah? And if I look at the NICE code, I can see that there has been a change in the number. So note that this data I present was extracted with the search term McDonald, not McDonald's fast food restaurants. It was McDonald. Therefore, you actually have a hardware store in there because McDonald hardware does exist. So it's important if you data mine that you understand what are your search patterns. Refresh. This is weird. Why are you not seeing the data? And why is your computer looking so funny in the color setup?
Or the contrast. Change that contrast. Yeah, I did.
Okay, everyone else fire up ArcMap, please. And actually you can fire up ArcMap and just clicking on the imagery.mxd file. Okay. Is there medical reasons why you're looking at this display this way? Okay, how can I help you with that? Because I'm not sure if you, with that contrast and with those color settings, I can give you the best. Seems that right now.
Catherine, did you put that screen black? No. No, she has nothing to do with that. The screen was not like that. Someone set it up like that.
Yeah, because I came in all the document information that was on there is gone, this is like.
So you can
Alright,
change
so
it.
this is not your setting. You
No,
do
no,
not
no.
choose that setting.
No.
No.
Alright, please log into the other computer since you saved everything to the jump drive. And we move you over to the other part because this is. Just move your data. So you download all the data, so it's going to be okay. Alright, sorry about that, but this is just a weird display. Alright. Alright. Essence letter number 1. If you data mine, extract data, everyone cool? If you extract data mine data from somewhere else, you have to be sure that if you do a search pattern, let's say like names, search pattern here is McDonald, it will include McDonald's, McDonald Construction, McDonald Hardware, and Robert McDonald and Associates even as a full business name. Huh?
The first 5 names are still not McDonald's, yeah.
Yeah, same thing here. Yeah? Gotta keep that in mind. Then also you could run the NICE code, which is like the zip code for the industry. Yeah, and you can see we have the 1117s in the back here. You have a different code here. Yeah, bad data mining. But gotta learn with that, with mistakes. For the purpose of today's session, I'm not going to clean this up right now. We can clean this up later. Yeah? What I want you to understand is we're not dealing with one point only, we're dealing with multiple locations. Yeah? Cleanup would be easy because we can just select what we need to know, what we really want, and then get rid of the rest. All right, let's open up the imagery file. Is that screen for you better now?
I can't tell. Someone's logged in here. I'm trying to find a different way to get in. Let's see, started it.
All right. And then don't forget to take your jump drive out there and leave it in there.
Okay.
All right, so let's move from the Bahamas here to Florida. The easy way I'm doing this is I'm zooming out with the mouse wheel and or just typing in here a specific piece. And then I find my Florida, pressing down this Z button as in Zulu, Zebra, or Zoo.
I'm sorry, how did you get, when you open ArcGIS, how did you get to the map?
Because I opened up the imagery file in our catalog. I double click the imagery file and it pops up automatically with this guy. Yeah? So instead of clicking the magnifying class here, I'm pressing the Z button. So you can see how my cursor changes from a hand into the magnifying class, and I zoom in into the Miami area. And it takes a moment. And I find larger Fort Lauderdale. Alright? That's about right, is it? Yeah. And it will take a little bit because it's not loading in my cache, etc., so we don't know yet exactly what's going on.
What's the ideal processor or amount of memory for these programs? Because it feels pretty slow, not just here, but also my house. Is there any recommendation?
For most of what we do is, if you look down here, you will see a globe icon rotating. So everything right now, if you zoom in, zoom out, is actually pulled from the internet. So your internet connection, how fast that is served to you,
That's okay.
is actually usually the issue.
Okay.
But then it also depends, is it a 32-bit, is it a 64-bit? I never had a GIS machine running less than 32 gigabyte RAM. But I do a little bit crazy things with those guys. So typically, a fair priced or weaponized laptop from Best Buy, not the $200 model, but the $500–600 model, can do wonders in GIS. The speed component is bad data management. If you have a million data points, it's not the computer, how fast the computer works, it's how fast your data can actually get through the computer. And you talk then, put an index on specific files, data optimization, and I did calculations with an index and without. And it took half an hour less with the index because the data system for managing the table is faster. And if you put that then actually into a database enterprise level, like on a real server, it's just warp speed. It depends on the application. Hi. All right. So we got this. This is somewhat our playground for today. Since we played with the McDonald's, what we're going to do is we're going to add the McDonald's data into the map, and I'm going to do this lazy with a left mouse click, drag and drop. Huh? And change the symbology so you can see that a little bit better. I go for an extreme color. Let's see how bright orange will look like here, and larger size for it so you guys actually can see when it's too big. So you can see this. And again, I chose orange and 12 in size. This is more yellow on the screen. If your resolution, your computer looks a little bit better in a different setup, it's completely fine. Yeah? All right. So we started with this, and Katharina, just heads up. So we downloaded data from Blackboard, extracted that on our jump drive, did the folders connection, and we're just dumping right now everything into map project. Huh?
Can
Yes?
you go over putting the dots again on the map?
Yeah. Alright. So there are different ways how to deal with adding data. One way to add data is I click this button here, and then I have to find it somewhere here all the time. If I am in our catalog and I'm already looking at my data, I gently click with the left mouse on this guy and then drag and drop it over. See that? It's almost like the drag and drop copy when you do images or files in your in your file explorer.
Okay.
And I do that, and by definition, there are two things that happen. First thing, the first item added to your data frame, in this case here, this one is a data frame here, yeah? Where you have all the layers. The first item added defines the projection. That's your playground, football or baseball stadium. Yeah? That also means it's lat long or let's say feet, depending on the team. Then, whatever I drag and drop or add as data, I will have a random color assigned if I put pure data in it. So that's the reason why I now have these kind of Bordeaux red wine colors. And I want to change that again, simply double click on the symbol and say bright color for me so you guys see this. Let's do orange again. And 12 was somewhat okay. Yeah? And I know these are my locations from Business Analyst for McDonald's. So the session of today is focused on digitizing. So what am I going to digitize?
A real map?
Huh?
A picture of a real map?
Picture of the map. Let's do actually work on campus, because I want you to deal with an area you actually somewhat know already. Yeah? Before I start digitizing, we're going to save this document. We're going to File, Save As. Yeah? Don't want to save it. I want to save as, so I can actually do a new name. I go to the location where I want to save this guy. So in this case, it's my folder F 2017 digitizing on my jump drive. And I want to call it Digi1 for digitizing 1. So in the context of digitizing, what I do is I have a shapefile and I go into an edit session and I add points to it. The problem right now is I don't have that shapefile yet. So therefore, we are going to create a shapefile. Yeah? If you came in late and you have not this on the screen so far, breathe and focus on the creation of a shapefile with me. Because that base map you can add any moment. Creating the shapefile is important. How do I create a shapefile? I go into Arc Catalog. This is my rule of thumb. All major data creation and operations are done in Arc Catalog. Typically, I even close the Arc map. So I don't fool around on any other table. I'm just looking at what's important for me right now. Got burned so many times with this. So right now, we can keep it open. But if you do really intense work, your workshop is our catalog for creating data and data manipulation when it comes to what I call open heart surgery. You will understand this in a moment. All right. One function we haven't explored yet too much is the right click in our catalog. If I go to my folder called the F2017 digitizing, yeah, and I right click on it, I can see something here is called new, and then boom, Pandora's box is popping open. Yeah? I have tier databases. We will talk about that later today. I have layers and group layers. I have toolbox stuff, and I have a table here, and I have a shapefile here. Shapefile is my friend. I played with shapefiles before, so let's create a shapefile. For that, I move slowly my mouse down here and click on Shapefile. Left click. Alright, so I'm going to talk you through these steps. Please don't be trigger happy and prematurely click on OK. Yeah? I talk you through all the steps and then I say click OK. Yeah? Because we are creating something new here, somewhat like open heart surgery, so you don't want to mess around with that. Yeah? What do you guys want to digitize today? Want to digitize cars, automobiles, point locations? Let's do cars. It's more fun. Okay, let's name this guy Cars. Yeah? And I have a problem now. I see here feature type point. I have different versions here, point, polyline, polygon. These are the three of my interest. I want to create point at this moment, but it says unknown coordinate system. Unknown coordinate system. So how are we going to change that? Yeah? Because we want to know what we're dealing here with. For that, I'm going to click here on Edit. And this is super important. This is where you define your baseball stadium and your football stadium. Huh? And there are different ways to do this. There is one way to find it, and the other way is to steal the projection. And I say it's to steal the projection, that is how to import it from a known source, like here, import.
How do you get to the spatial reference properties?
I created a new space shapefile,
Right.
and I click edit.
Edit, okay.
Huh? Let's do the simple version and say find it. Here's a search function on top. And I type in WGS and hit enter.
W?
GS. Actually WGS 84. WGS 84. Ah! Wrong installation. Let me give me a moment. If you do not check the gotta do this different way. This is when you have different installations on different computers. Alright. No search. Let's just find it. So WGS is the World Geographic System 84 because it's dated from 1984. What we're going to do is we're doing the following steps to find it. In the Spatial Reference Properties menu, we're going to gently open up the geographic coordinate systems. Alright? And I see the whole world unfolding in front of me. At the bottom, there is actually a folder called World. I scroll down. And there are different versions, but I'm interested right now in this WGS 1984. There are other versions.
Can you go back? Because I don't
Yeah.
have that.
You don't?
No,
No, not 1984.
1988.
Go, keep going. No, down, down,
Oh, to the bottom.
1989.
Oh, it's to
Are
the
you on
bottom.
objective?
Right here?
Yeah.
You have to scroll down.
From what?
Scroll down.
Geographic.
Okay.
Alright. Let's do one more thing, because we all searched for it. Let's delete the search. If you have done a search earlier, like this, please click this button that says Clear Search. Everyone okay?
No.
Crystal's like, I'm checking out already and it's not even 9 o'clock.
Sure.
Clear this button and then find in, come on, help you. Geographic coordinate systems, scroll down to World, and then WGS 1984.
I don't have them.
He doesn't
I
have
have it.
1984.
your phone away
I already have it.
You have it,
Yeah, we're
alright.
He
good.
doesn't have it. He
Check it
has
out for a
other
while.
1984s.
Cool, you have it. You have it. I'm coming back.
Sì.
You're on objective. Scroll up, scroll up. No,
A internet era
you're using
Guatemala Express.
geographic coordinate systems.
Dia do lab.
World,
Três segundos.
WGS. Perfect.
Eu cheguei
Do not click anything from.
6 ou 7.
Não, eu ensinei ele. É porque, como eu ia viajar, eu pesquisei lá. E aí eu fui na primeira semana.
Cara, só me lembro quando eu cheguei aqui, quebrei minha cabeça aqui, mas eu consegui sozinho. Todo mundo me seguiu aqui. Não sei qual vai ser a nossa nota, mas todo mundo me seguiu os meus estéticos.
Ah, eu me quebrei também, mas aí me quebrei em casa sozinho, porque
Você conseguiu instalar
ninguém
no seu computador?
é dele.
É dele? Pô, você tá cheio, cara.
Ele me emprestou isso.
Eu tive que
Porque eu tenho um Apple, né? E no Apple não funciona. Aí eu disse, não, eu tenho, vou te emprestar o meu. É novo.
Eu tive que fazer a
Ele me deu na
instalação.
caixa.
Eu tive que fazer a instalação no meu. Foi só isso mesmo.
Foi. Pra mim também, porque deu problema, tinha que baixar 3 arquivos, eu só consegui baixar um. Eu tive que ligar pra Eslo, aí eles lá da Califórnia entraram no meu computador, fizeram, olha, eu perdi no dia inteiro.
Eu também perdi mais ou menos.
Mas é isso aí. Eu ia viajar direto depois da aula, eu saí da aula, fui direto.
Do you guys last week here?
Sábado,
Alright, let's change that.
Esse é o seu primeiro. As suas primeiras classes. Então você não foi exposed to business.
Is that better?
Ainda não.
Wow, wake up. Alright,
Não, esse é incrível.
Change to the hand.
this is the complicated part. Okay? Believe me, if you scroll down that list, you pretty much have for every darn corner of this country and or the whole globe a projection system. And there are reasons for that. Actually, coordinate systems and projections. Yeah? Depending on the purpose, on how you want to do this, yeah, you have to choose different projections. Because the purpose of projections is to get the 3D curved surface of the Earth into a 2D projection. Yeah? Super simple. 3D into 2D. But the mathematics and the algorithms behind that are so complicated that you actually have all these hundreds of thousands of different systems. Yeah? To give you an idea, there's a projection systems called state plane. And certain states are smaller and certain states are larger. The state of Texas has 7 official state plane zones from which area you're actually switching from one projection to the other projection because it's so big in north-south extent. Yeah, for their purposes. State of Delaware had, I think, only 1. Yeah? You say it makes sense, but it doesn't sometimes. Yeah? All right. This is the complicated part. If I want to create a file from scratch, I do the following. I go to our catalog, create a new shapefile, name it, and then I make a spatial reference and reference systems, and I choose the coordinate system. In our case, the WGS 1984, which is coordinate system, world, and then the one you want to select. Again, coordinate systems, world, and the one you want to select. I click OK.
Okay, wait a minute. How did I get here already?
I need you to get you through this. This is the guideline to go through these. Yeah? So, Anyway, this is the craziest step so far on that list of things to do. Everything else is a piece of cake. Believe me. Believe me. Click OK. So now, I have this one in here. And this is pretty much the most standard, most basic coordinate system I can use. Yeah? So, repeat this. Cars as a name, point as a feature type, no lines, no polygons at this time, and you should see something like this in the coordinate system right now. Alright? That said, I'm going to click OK. Everyone got that?
Yep.
So we're going back again. You're reviewing it again?
You created a shapefile, named cars, type point, and we defined a coordinate system. Ideally, your computer should have created now a file here, cars. Yeah? And if I look at the preview tab, like from content to preview, this is really slow.
Yeah.
It's empty. I don't see anything. Why don't I see anything?
Because you're not selected the file.
Well, I'm in there.
We don't have data points.
We have nothing in there. We just created a container called cars. And you know that everything inside that container will be points, but we haven't created a point yet. I can take a look at the table, and the table is completely empty.
There's no data item.
There's nothing in there, it's a complete blank.
Can we change this one?
Huh?
Let's change this.
Cars. Oh my, can I? I need to find out how to change this highlight color here. This is,
Change the can.
can? No, that's no can here. Yep. Yep. All right. Next step. I double click this guy.
Oh, Professor,
Yep.
I guess we missed something while we were finding on our computer.
All right. I double click cars or right click and go on properties.
What we saw looks like, so we're both doing something wrong this evening.
I think one.
Oh, you have cars up here. That's fine.
Well,
Yeah, because you're looking at the content, not the preview tab.
Professor, I don't have the Digi one, the MSRED Digi one. The undercards.
Did you save that? So the Digi one is the file that we saved as when we put the McDonald's data together.
alright, so click.
Okay.
All right, you got this too, Katarina? All right.
But it doesn't come up though, like, it doesn't look like this.
Because you're looking at geography and not table yet.
Don't worry, I'll do something
Alright.
wrong.
Crazy, you're cool?
Yeah, I got it, yeah.
Alright. Important when it comes to navigation in your catalog. This is my table of content. I can move around here and go between, let's say, a map document and my data. I have three important tabs here. One is content, which if I'm in upper division here, shows me everything which is below. I also have the preview table. If I'm looking at data in preview, I can choose most likely between geography and table. Alright? So I double click on cars. Next step, what I want to do is I want to add a new field to my data table. And for that, I go over here to the tab called Field. Click down here. And call it Name. Actually, it's called Color. Sorry, step over here. Color. Yeah? And then as a data type, here on the right side, I can click gently and pops up with variations of data types. We're going to select text or string. Both is the same. String is the technical, text is what we call the numbers in text. Yeah? Going to choose text. If you do GIS work, you have to choose what kind of fields are you, or what type of field are you using for that. Typically, a good choice is double. That's as close as you can get to an Excel spreadsheet. Huh? Everything else has computational advantages and disadvantages, even a double. Huh? But it's a safe bet, usually, for standard students' work. Huh? text and double the preferred field types. We're going to select text. So you should see this color and text as data type. Everyone on the same page with this? Huh? Diego, Danilo, you guys have that.
Yeah.
Here is what I call an artifact from the good old days, when you paid $2,000 for a hard disk this big and it would save maybe a percentage of your jump drive. Yeah? Field length is important for computations. Back in the days you paid for the length of each field. Yeah? Right now we don't really care too much about it. It's more, for us it's more cosmetics. For a database analyst, oh la la, not really. So it comes standard with 50. That means it's that wide on your screen if you look at it. For color like red, orange, blue, green, black and white, I don't need 50 characters length. I can do this in 10 maybe. Huh? So let's do 10 here. I type in 10. Yo.
I don't have that. Under my properties.
Take one color. Oh, yeah.
So you can do this for every field you add in a new way. So you can add additional fields here when you set this up. You also can add fields in ArcMap later on as well, if you want to. Take one color and type in that. All right. So what I'm going to do, the moment I click OK, fingers crossed, the system should add a field called color, type text, length 10. Yeah? And this is how I would actually ask you to do that in an assignment. Add a field, name so-and-so, type so-and-so, length so-and-so. Are you mocking me?
I'm doing this because I want to remember doing this.
All right. And I click OK.
I gotta put that on the video.
Well, you know, I had a friend, psychiatrist, folk psychiatrist, happy hour with them on dinner every other Sunday. And she's like, Thomas is South German. He likes things just like this. Very determined. All right. So, yes.
It says unable to alter
Yeah,
field length.
same.
Are you alter
Yeah.
field length?
It doesn't, there's no. I pressed the whole. You just pressed the whole. It said unable.
All right.
Okay.
Yes. Created already? Yeah, because you created it already.
Oh.
All right, that's fine. If it says can't alter the field length, you actually created already by accident that field. What did I tell you about premature trigger happy fingers? Okay. If I double click here again, I should now have this field in here. If I was lucky, I have a 10. If you click that too early, you might have a 50. Didn't break a leg.
Well,
It's just,
here's a question. You inserted the field. Can you get rid of the field and do it again?
depends in which system you are, yes. Click delete. So mark up the whole thing, click delete. And sometimes it kills here not wait. Should not do this. Yeah, so you can actually add this again. This is a special case. Depending on your environment, you can't. Depending if it's an enterprise solution, you might not be allowed to do that. So again, I'm doing test. Click here on 10. Hit OK. Yeah. Again, this file is empty, but we have now a point shape file with a color field in it. If I want to add this now to my mapping project, how would I add this data to my mapping project?
Right.
You drag
I just drag and drop it. Alright? Some of you might actually get a warning sign, hey, transformation projection error. That means we didn't set it up the right way. Some of you don't. That means we are all together now in the same sandbox. Football, plays in football stadiums. Okay? I still see the McDonald's pieces. We're going to take out McDonald's in a moment. Hello. Probably. So double click on this guy here. Imagery.
Porque aí eu já deixo salvo aqui, porque o que ele está fazendo hoje
Yeah, because you have
vai
empty
ser
cards. You have nothing to
metade
display.
do nosso ensaio. Eu já tenho ele meio...
It's an empty book, so you can't read it in an empty book. You have to write into it first. But once you have done this, then go back to catalog and then check across the car section and you're set ready to go. Same thing for you.
Eu sofro com esses laptop.
Yeah, take the cars. Left click on the cars, drag and drop across the screen into your map.
What the hell is everybody?
Alright, and now you just have to find the software.
No.
So zoom out and move. We're in the Bahamas right now. Open this up.
I'm in the Bahamas.
Yeah, this is Paradise Island. Yeah, perfect.
Is that drive this?
No, double click it.
Hoje é o primeiro dia que eu estou trabalhando com ele aqui, vamos ver.
Double click the imagery. No.
Semana que vem se decide.
And once this is loaded, you can drag and drop the cars into it.
It is like a car.
Alright.
I'm still stuck with being in the Bahamas right now.
Yeah, you can move this later. It's kind of coincidental. Bahamas, our guest speaker today in the site planning class, actually has done projects in the Bahamas. So it's going to be fun. Alright. We're done with projections. Let's digitize cars on campus, walking paths and some buildings. Let's do cars first. Yeah? So where's our campus here? Everyone has this right now on the screen. Somewhere in Florida, Fort Lauderdale area. I know you guys are still sitting in the Bahamas, but are you okay to find us?
We're there.
You're going to move, okay, fine.
Zoom all the way up.
Aerial photography is different from regular base maps. You gotta know a little bit about how to read those and where to find those. Let me make this larger for you guys. Huh? So I'm going to the magnifying class and I read a little bit the map. I know that this is the inlet, Fort Lauderdale Harbor, Port Everglades. Yeah? This is already Bahamas, Miami. I also know that this is Alligator Alley 595. This is one of the most significant pieces we can see when we deal with our mapping. We have here the harbor area and the Oceanographic Center, Dania Beach, and that kind of cross the state connector. That helps to orient. Yeah? What I'm going to do is now, I'm going to zoom in with this envelope a little bit more. For that, I left click, hold it down, and draw this envelope. Do you see the flickering line? That's what we call an envelope. This is where the next zoom will happen. And I do this step by step. That is Fort Lauderdale Airport. And I point this out because we all have been there, but how many times have we been looking at it from space? Yeah? Fort Lauderdale Airport, 595.
How do you do the envelope again? You hold.
Magnifying glass, and then I click here,
Hold the left.
hold it down, and then move it over for the search envelope.
And then you release. Got it.
And then I release, exactly.
No, it's not working. Do it again.
Let me do this without the base map so you can
Aperta o
actually
Z, segura o Z. que
see
aí-
this. If I would do this just like that, it zooms in only to that. I can
Tu
go
segura o
back.
Z apertado e tu só
Ah,
fala.
okay.
Huh? Alright, let's zoom in a little bit more to give you the idea of what we're dealing with. If this would be a regular street map, you will see Fort Lauderdale Airport. We have 595 going up here, slightly sloped. Yeah? And you can see that we have like this 1-ish mile pattern going here. You also see specific streets going north-south. Yeah? Will look a little bit different, more high resolution on your screen than mine. I also know from west of Fort Lauderdale Airport is our campus somewhere. A bunch of lakes in between, and then I get a golf course and a lot of residential. Yeah? So if I zoom in into this area, I can see a golf course. Huh? See the pattern here?
Golf course right there on Pine Island.
Lake, golf course, and I can zoom in more. This is University Drive.
Yep. That's on Pine Island.
And this wobbly S-style curve is Pine Island. That's the reason why I find this the whole time. No? Because if I look at this, oh, this is Pine Island. That like S-shaped thing. And I'm going to zoom straight, bold-headed down into here, this area, to find our campus. Campus is easy to identify because of that little blue blurb down here. The two blurbs are the competition pool. This is one of the most, if you look, zoom in and zoom out, it's one of the first few things you can see in this resolution. You have dark blue dark blackish water bodies from the golf course, but there's this blue standing out there in the middle of nowhere. So I zoom in like that. So I have a little edge of University Drive here on the side, and you have College Avenue on the right. Yeah? I'm going to bookmark this. How do I do bookmarks?
Bookmarks. Create bookmark.
Thomas, I lost my
Bookmark, create bookmark.
my map before I bookmarked it. How do I bring it back to reality here?
No. I used to do it too close.
Too close.
Yeah. Goes like 200,000 or something. How do I bookmark this?
Bookmark.
Say this loud so everyone
I'm
can hear
over
it.
it. You go to bookmarks.
Did everyone hear that? They are not available.
Yep.
Well, in this case, we have all that didn't go outside the area.
So there. How'd you do that?
Zoom to there.
Oh,
Basic map navigation.
Diggy.
Alright, basic map navigation pieces. To get to an area of interest back and forth, there are different ways to do this. One, you're really brilliant with map navigation and you know exactly how to zoom and pan and load and all that. Boom! Yeah? Too complicated even for me. One easy way is to create a bookmark, like pointed out in chapter 1 or chapter 2 in the book.
Bookmark. Create a bookmark.
Bookmark it. Create bookmark. And call it campus. And hit OK. You know, last time we had the Sire Award, and I had a happy drink with alumni. One of the lessons learned from the GIS class was how students are having fun with my Z's and Z's. Bookmark.
I thought you were going to say the bookmark.
Huh? My Z's and Z's.
Super easy,
I thought it was
right?
No, it's more celebrate zoo.
Celebrate zoo.
Z as in no, that's
The
ABC.
bookmark.
Z as in Charlie and Z as in zoo.
like this. Zoom.
And you would know that because in other alphabets in other countries you say C or
C.
Set.
C.
And the British say Z and Set. That's easy.
Set bookmark.
Okay, I think you guys can be ready. All right, let's set this up, get through the first set of digitizing. I will take a short break. All right. There are different ways also to come back. Let's do some chaos. All right, look first, then do it on your own screen. I'm going to take the pan function here and flip 2 or 3 times just across. Because I accidentally just moved my map. So there are different ways to get back to that. One is, I have data, I know exactly where I want to go. Say the McDonald's are in my region. Yeah? So when I use the right click and say zoom to layer, I said watch, not click. It will pop up where I was with all my McDonald's before. Yeah? Now try this on your own.
How do you save it? The zoom? How do you
Zoom to layer. If you have McDonald's in your file, use zoom to layer.
Right click on McDonald's.
Yeah, no.
Yeah? Right click, zoom to layer. So wherever your data is located in the world, it will find that. The other way to go back to our campus is using our bookmark. So you bookmark, campus, and it jumps right in there. And it's like, literally like the bookmark for your web browser. It always goes back to that one page. Yeah? That's somewhat helpful. For digitizing, also helpful are these 3 guys here. Oh, and this button, because it goes back and forth between the previous extent. If I don't have a bookmark, I can jump on here. For digitizing, it's helpful to understand a little bit how you deal with the keyboard shortcuts. Yeah? Well, that's the Z and the Z command. Z as in set, zoom, is the shortcut for the zoom in. So if I have my cursor in the map and I press Z as zoom, you can see how it changes the, in my case, hand to magnifier class the moment I press that. Yeah? Magnifier with the plus sign. If I hit X, let's give you guys this like
Oh,
this.
it zooms out.
If I hit X, it goes to the minus magnifier to zoom out. And if I have something like a cursor like this, and I hit Z as in Johnny, I get my pan hand. That means I can move without leaving my map display. I can zoom in and zoom out, and then again with the C button can move around as well. I can use my mouse wheel to do the same thing for in and out. And the important part for that is, in digitizing, I have my function open. Again, I do this open heart surgery. I don't want to move away from the heart and click somewhere else. I want to be focused on what I want to do. Yeah? And see, now I lost it. So what I'm going to do is I just say bookmarks and jump back. All right? Everyone has the campus in front of them. All right. Let's do exactly really a 3-minute break. Stretch your legs, go to the bathroom. For those who have not the campus like this in front, I help you now.
I don't have it.
Oh, put your USB.
I don't have any card with it.
Não?
It's okay if you cheat on it. Can I just put it
Mas eu acho que deve estar aberto lá. Ó.
Give me a moment, because you need to catch
then I
up
can't
7
link it.
minutes of instructions.
Just download it and then
Put
put
it
it
in
in
the
there.
download and then after you.
So airport, 8 water body. There's the scripted road, can you see that? Yeah, that's one of the linear
I think that's still gonna be a
features,
limiting
that's
thing. I'm gonna have to
595.
get a
So
USB for that.
If you do that, and you zoom in, and then here, line item, you double loop going down, follow it. And then you can see here the green area is the golf course. So if you, that's kind of line item, let's stretch. You get a little closer, that's the turnpike. Huh? $5.95 exactly, and then here is Quick and Road. Like the Quick and Road is coming.
Why didn't they tell us that from the beginning of the program?
Coming from the airport, here. So if this is Pine Island, it's Griffin.
That's okay.
Then this is University. And then
Or even with the class. Or even with the class, they
find the
just give us
blue
one.
thing.
It's
And
okay.
then you pretty much have. And you have way better resolution on that screen than I actually have. Good catch up. So, you download the data already? Yeah. What I want you to do is you go on to this.
What?
Right
I don't think
now.
last too much.
Go to new.
Let's not even talk about it. That's how bad.
The Shapefile.
I was like, so,
Call that car.
I gave him a very nice evaluation.
You did?
Oh,
okay.
The opposite of nice. It was probably the most, I've only written 3 evaluations. It's the only one I gave it 4 evaluations. I gave it to him.
Yeah, but that's because
And then goes down to WGS.
Nobody.
This one.
Okay.
Is it okay? Now,
But
cars.
everybody agreed to speak with the politics.
But I wasn't, and I had already known the politics because I was vice president and president of RED last year. And so, not at the board, but the real estate development student association last year. I was vice president and president.
With Jason.
And with Jason Price. And I had heard about him. So I prepared mentally, but man, I was telling you, I could understand very clearly why a lot of the students did complain. Because at first, you hear complaints, you're like, oh,
Farm campus.
they probably thought.
Yeah, yeah.
No, he was legitimately like not well to work with. And it makes no sense for us to be paying $2,500 to a professor. And you bullshit about this.
So there's, so, so on the top left, you see the
I don't know, but I know he didn't like me because I would give him regular email feedback about my suggestions of how he should change
So
because of how he was assessing us.
A couple of things. I was like, I emailed him to him, and he said, I want to know what you're looking for. It's like, yeah, better than the next sentence. And he never gave me a straight answer. He said, well, I'm just looking for. If you could give me 80, tell me what you're looking for so I can get 1900.
That's smart. That was one smart move. I just felt like I saw the way he set up the course, and I felt it was flawed the way he was teaching. Flawed. If you think about it, we're taking a course. In one sense, this is the way I kind of position my
I should never been in to start with.
never. So this is my grievance. This is my grievance.
So they accommodated him to travel.
Oh yeah. Fundamentally, this is from an education standpoint because I have some smidgen of a teaching background. He wasn't monitoring and he wasn't assessing the students for the district. Quizzes for the game. So the case study. So for example, let's just talk about quizzes.
First of all, you only want one class only.
No, what did he say to put those?
One class only, and McDonald's is down here in this folder.
Why do you need to assess our reading coverage?
And you drag and drop McDonald's in.
Why was he assessing our reading coverage?
And then you have McDonald's.
Why is that if it's like high school level of assessment? You could have figured out other assessments for us to actually be.
Show her again.
It's course specific, is what you're saying.
Let her click. The same thing. Because if I click it for you, you are just watching it. You need to do it.
How do I go back?
So go to the folder.
Change that icon.
click on the 0.5 or so. Yep.
No. Right, well,
Okay.
okay,
Okay.
go to bars.
Go to the map.
No.
And you, both ladies, please save this file, save as Digi1, digitized one, in your work folder, which is on the chunk drive, or put down the word.
They don't have it, right, DG1.
Yeah, Digi1. Okay? I feel you. Let's do some stretching. All right. Oops. Let's take a look at this one.
Like this.
They must have shot that picture on a Sunday.
Okay, you extracted. Okay, now open.
All right, let's start digitizing with all this fun stuff.
Or open this.
So the workflow we are going to do now is we're going to digitize our cars. We're going to find cars on campus.
Open catalog.
We are going to zoom in as close as possible to that location we want to digitize. There are certain somewhat rules for digitizing in terms of accuracy, like what scale you used for digitizing. Do I want to digitize a car on campus in that resolution, like 1 to 50,000? Probably not. Huh? If I want to digitize like this, 1 to 3,000, let it have it low. Yeah, that could be something. Yeah, and let me do the bookmark to campus again. Or I say, where is my parking lot of interest? And depending on the real world example, you can see here again the float is loading data. Hello. Please load.
Yeah.
Let's do this whole thing again here. Let's see how far you get. Let me do this. It's like working from home and Comcast kills my internet connection again. Not funny. That's the reason why I didn't go through the assignments last night. I had no internet for 5 hours. My internet came back at 11 p.m. Like, bedtime, no, work. Alright, so this works. Let's go closer. Alright. So 645, 1 to 1,000. Alright, so if I want to digitize the location on cars on a parking lot, in our case, a scale to 1 to 1,000 might be appropriate. I will go back to this, so we now know what we want to do. This is your campus. And I'm trying to desperately find cars on campus. So let's organize our idea a little bit. This is University Drive to the far left. Then you have 30th Street coming down here, passing the training arena. And this is the Carl DeSantis building, parking garage Carl DeSantis. Let me zoom into that. Yeah? So for the purpose of this exercise to digitize cars, this must be a Sunday morning picture. Because if this is the business school, there's no car in front of it. Might be Fred Foggy in mine, but that's it. So business school area is not so cool. We're using this Z as in Charlie, and we move over campus to get more acquainted with map navigation. If I look at this is the Horwitz building. Yeah? Finn Lake. This is the student union building with the shape.
There are some more cars there on the south side of.
Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. If I move farther south, I will find the dorms, the towers. Let me zoom out so you can see where I'm going to with this. Yeah? If this is my campus, I'm going to do the south side of campus. For orientation, here's the competition pool, recreational pool. I'm looking at the dorms down here. And I'm looking at the parking lot, the central parking lot straight up here. And to have everyone on the same scale, I type in 1 to 1,000, just 1,000 in my scale selector. And I look at this. All right? Parking lot, walking paths, and some building. This is about the area we play around with today. Yeah? Let's bookmark it. Bookmark. Right? Where's my one? It's like. Let's bookmark this. Create bookmark, call it parking. And the reason why I'm doing this bookmark again is because I might accidentally do this. How do I get back? Well, with a bookmark. Alright? Save the document. Save as Digi1. Save the document.
Save under the same name, right?
Save under the same name. Alright. So you guys know how hell is freezing over when I give my talk about plagiarism and cheating. This is the same attitude right now. We are going to do open heart surgery on the little file called CARS. It's a fragile little digital person. We're going to treat that CARS with the most respect possible. We are going to not be trigger happy and click OK too fast. No? We're going to open up what we call an edit session. And edit sessions are difficult because depending on what kind of data you're dealing with and what kind of environment you're dealing with, you might not have an undo. It's like making barbecue, cutting that steak in half. You can't undo that cut. You have to do a redo over, as in raise the whole kettle, get it to the butcher slaughterhouse, back on your table. Sorry about the poor meat, but this is the way it goes. It's not that easy. So we're doing open heart surgery. Very careful, very concentrated. No? So I want everyone on the same page. About a 1 to 1,000 scale. We're looking at this parking lot. Yeah? And we're going to deal with cars. And the workflow, what we're going to do now is we're going to open up an edit session for cars. And we're going to go through the so-called sketching tools. And we're going to add a few points on top of each of the white cars. And we go find some blue cars and maybe some reds, like 4 or 5 of each. Yeah? I will slow down more than usual. Like, I have a tendency to go through this fast sometimes. Yeah? I will slow down. Let me finish the whole process, and we start over again with the next one. Huh? Again, this is a piece of cake within an open heart surgery. The clicking, you're like, oh, click, 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 that's cool. But you have to be aware that you basically, your shapefile is on the table with you. This is the most dramatic way to explain that. Let's do it. This is for stuff like this, I change the music and even my drink and do tea instead of coffee. So I take this stuff seriously. On here, on the grayish area, I right click. Takes a moment, in case you've never seen this before, these are all the tools and toolbars you can use. We're going to find the toolbar that's called Editor here and activate it with a simple click. Alright? You can drag and drop this guy around. You can attach it to the sides or on the top. I keep it up here so you can see it easily and don't get confused with other buttons. Alright? In an edit session, we're going to digitize now our data. Therefore, we go click on Editor, open up here. It says Start Editing. Click on it.
Just this one? Oh, this one.
If you have everything in your folder, same folder, it should not pop up like this. But because you have data in digitizing and then data in the McDonald's, it will actually ask you, which one are you interested in?
Tells me cannot edit layer contained in a base map layer.
Base map?
Yeah, it comes up with an error.
On cars? You have it. Continue. Let me check one thing.
Yeah, the great cars and this under McDonald's. Creative cars.
Oh, you have it. It's working. Where's your data located? Is it all the same? Yeah, because it's all the same.
Oh, because all at once.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
And we have to do
Wait.
You right click on it. New. Sheet
Yeah,
file.
because you already put that in the same folder.
Right, that's correct.
So move that. So
Feature type.
see that? You actually have all of that in the same. Your cars are in the McDonald's folder. You're fine? And you're the same thing here, you have cars and McDonald's next to it, so you will not get that.
And then
message. All right.
click on these to fix your colors.
That's fine, because that's on your local sheet.
Mine doesn't show cards on that big.
Field it. And then go
Oh,
to
yeah,
type
yeah, yeah.
colors.
Yeah, because you have them in the same folder.
No?
See that?
Sure.
All right. This is a case of how do I debug an error message. Again, if you can stay in your video screen if you want to. If you get not the cars and the McDonald's, you might have created cars in the wrong folder. So to check on this, if you go here to table of content, list by source, it shows me in which directory or folder my data is. If you have cars and McDonald's right next to each other, you will not get that one prompt I just got. Okay? I go back to list by order. And do this again. Editor, Start editing. Ideally, you get that message. I click on cars and click OK. You will not get that message if you're in the same directory. And I click OK. And now it tells me spatial reference does not match the data frame. That's completely okay, because we are not interested in McDonald's. We want to deal with cars. Yeah? And cars is in the right field. McDonald's right now seems like a football game in a baseball stadium. Yeah? But we are with the cars in the right setup. And I click OK, continue. All right, let's pop this up there. If you had McDonald's in the same folder, you will see McDonald's here on the side. For those who had the error message or non-error message, do you see McDonald's here on the side? Huh? So this is my create feature or sketch tool. I can click on cars. You move this around, you can see that this is a point. And this is again, open heart surgery, but simply a simple mouse click. If I click on cars here and move over into the map, I can actually activate, if you're very careful, there is a reddish dot in front of my mouse. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
That is where you're going to place your point when you click. Yeah, so if on your screen you might see this a little bit better. Let me zoom in a little bit more so you can see this on mine more extreme. Once it's loaded. Yeah. See, if I move around, it has this kind of round shape in front of it. All right, this is where the tip of that cursor is going to be the placement of my car point. I'm going to pick this red one here and click on it. All right. I just created a point shape. I take the next one and click on it. I created a second point shape, and you can see now there's something actually showing. Let me change the symbology. Yeah?
You're going to the reds now, right?
I'm doing the reds now, yeah. I'm finding a red one here, finding a red one here. Just shift rows to dim and dim.
When you did the first one, what else did you do?